All right, welcome everybody around the world. Welcome to all my subscribers. Just a short little video here. I'm probably going to be making a lot of videos on this topic just as a heads up in the coming days. But I just have to circle back, hate using that word, but I have to circle back to the fact that about a month or so ago, if you want proof, it's on my channel. I made the video testimony talking about that dream I had, the prophetic dream. It wasn't the first time I'd had it. I had had that dream a number of times over many years. And each time I had the dream, it wasn't that I was getting closer to seeing more each time, but I was held back from seeing the great arrival each time. But I was always going through the moment right up until whatever it was arrived. Well, about a month or so ago, I had the dream again, but this time I got to see what was arriving. And it was at least one massive alien mothership up in the sky entering the atmosphere, and within moments there were extraterrestrials on the ground trying to apprehend the people, from what I could tell. And one of the aliens came straight up to my face, and I looked at it face to face, like a foot or two away. I saw its face in full detail. And it was, for lack of a better term, a reptilian. Not a stereotypical looking reptilian, but just for lack of a better term. That dream was astonishingly real. And the fact that it wasn't just a one off, it was like the culmination point of all the times I'd had the dream prior. Finally getting to see the full package. Well, anyways, I have to circle back to that dream because I had that dream before any of these drones started appearing. And all I can say is, folks, based on the footage that I just saw tonight, it blows all the other drone footage out of the water. No pun intended, actually. Because the video that I just saw tonight was of a fleet of these drones looking like large spheres of light, and they were in a grid pattern over the ocean. Okay? Not that far away from the city where the person was filming. And there was lots of people around. It was in full view of the public, just like all these other drones are. But these ones were, there was three spheres, three spheres, three spheres, three spheres in a grid pattern, just hovering over the ocean. And then the bottom tier, the center one, it was like 1, 2, 3 in each tier. The center sphere on the lower tier, the center sphere, descended down first a little bit until it looked like it formed a triangle. So you had the two spheres, then the one in the center that had gone down a bit. And then that triangle descended down into the ocean. The next tier above it, and they all followed suit. The next tier above it, tier number 2, the center sphere of the 3, went down first until it formed a triangle. That one went down into the ocean. Each one of the tiers, there was like 3 or 4 tiers of these, they all went down into the ocean. That's all you need to know that these are not human drones. Putting aside all the other arguments and footages and everything, and welcome. I can't find the name of the video. With hard effort, I might be able to locate it, but for right now, I mean, there's so much other footage out there, but this one here is just concrete because it literally shows them going into the ocean. There's plenty of testimony from authorities, like actual authorities, like before Congress or whatever it was, where they're saying they've been filmed coming off of the ocean. They use the word off, not out. But anyways, there's been enough speculation and allegations that people have seen them coming in and out of the ocean. But this video shows them going into it. So, and it's the ocean. There isn't like an island out of sight. They're going into the ocean. So these are aliens. Like my gut told me, like no duh, they're definitely aliens. I'm not going to get into all the plethora of reasons why they're not drones. Again, I did that in my other videos. But they are definitely aliens. And I'm starting to get scared inside, even though I believe it's the end of days, 2024. I've been teaching for 8 years. I'm awaiting the arrival of Jesus and the rapture any day, any week, month, whatever. I'm not going to be picky. But I can't deny that I'm actually getting scared inside because, and what irritates me is that everybody else on the planet seems to be frivolously oblivious and nonchalant about all of this. People are really stupid. Okay? People are incredibly stupid. Humans are an incredibly stupid species. And all I can say is it's not even rocket science to fathom that there's going to be an alien invasion. It's not even hard to fathom. Like, that is going to happen. It is inevitable. It is only a matter of time. If the aliens were here just scouting the earth, they wouldn't be putting on spectacular shows and flying around residential neighborhoods in large numbers. It is going to happen. In case people don't know, if you followed UFOlogy, UFO lore for the last 80 years, all the higher level echelon of information, the most credible, shows that the aliens, whatever races they are, have bases in our oceans. Okay? More information has come out in the last year or so, I guess, because of all the Congress hearings. One key whistleblower, I won't say who his name is, with long white hair, pretty famous guy, says that they have strong evidence that there is a base in the ocean off the coast of California somewhere. But there's lots of bases around the world, allegedly. And most likely there are. And if you look back in world mythology, all sorts of different nations, there were sage beings that came from the ocean and gave mankind civilization, even in the Greco-Roman religion. I can't remember the name of the beings anymore, but they came from the ocean and brought civilization. Very similar to a lot of other cultures around the world from all different corners of the globe. If there has been, there is most likely been an alien presence on our planet for aeons. Okay, whether they've always been here, whether they're terrestrial, whether they came here, who cares? There are non-humans with bases on this earth. They've been here for a long time, and such a long time that once in a while they come out of the ocean and not interfere, but interfere with mankind. Maybe in good ways, maybe in bad ways, whatever. I'm certainly not going to sit here and judge them, especially if they're about to invade the earth. Okay, I don't have the best words for everything. So all the evidence now shows that these aliens that are in our oceans, and remember, all the UFOs, majority of UFOs are USOs. That's something that's been disclosed now, verified by the authorities. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science. The aliens that live in our oceans, in bases obviously, are coming out in great numbers, brazenly, openly, flying around for everybody to see, putting on spectacular shows. They're not hurting anybody, not going after anybody. They're doing this for a reason. There's going to be an alien invasion. Whether good, whether bad, I don't know. But it is quite scary. It is going to happen. They are not going to come out and put on this spectacular show to just disappear. They're flying around doing things like this for a reason. What reason? We don't know, but it's going to happen. So the very fact that I had a dream about this a month ago, before any of these drones appeared, is quite astonishing. Either that dream came from the aliens, like they caused me to have it, or it came from God, or a mixture of both. Because there is no way that little old me could have a dream about aliens arriving to the earth and making themselves known, and then it actually starts to happen weeks later. That can't be a coincidence. And that one dream I had wasn't the only alien dream I had in that span of time. I had another dream. Both of these dreams, I had the video testimonies that I put up the day after I had the dream. So if you go check my channel, you'll see that, right? The first one I had was I was outside at night, lots of people around. Don't know why there's so many people around. Don't know what's going on. And a lot of people like congested together. People weren't in a state of panic or anything, right? But I don't know what was going on. And there was a golden translucent sphere, looked like golden glass. You could see straight through it and see the little alien being that was inside there piloting it, sitting in its little control chair. And it was just hovering off the ground, like 2-3 feet off the ground, just right in the middle of all the people, but nobody else could see it. Only I could see it. And when I pointed at it, it started to hover towards me. Not aggressively, but it came towards me, and it kind of freaked me out, and I tried to get away. That dream came first. That was the only time in any of my dreams that I've ever seen an alien or a UFO like up close, ever. And then a couple weeks later, I had the one with the giant alien mothership coming down and the aliens and the reptilians coming out, seemingly trying to apprehend people. This cannot be a coincidence. Either the aliens, as crazy as it sounds, caused me to have this dream, or God did, or both. Okay? It's not a coincidence that in my, near half a decade of life, almost, that I've never dreamed seeing an alien or a UFO, and then, bam, I see this. I've seen a UFO like once before, but I mean, it pales in comparison to what this was. So, and by the way, that dream that I had with the UFO, that was an end days dream, and the UFO started to blast down. It was a saucer with like a aperture at the center on the underside. It was flying over a city. I'll never forget this. I was probably a young teenager when I had it, and all the people, a lot of people had fled the city, were up on this high hill, like, I don't know, 500 feet up in the air or whatever. And the UFO came over the city, just about our height or just over. And I could see the underside of it. And then this big beam pillar of plasma shot down and just started destroying everything. And I'm quite certain that I had this dream before the movie Independence Day came out. I am almost certain in retrospect. But nonetheless, ignoring that dream for now, looking at my two most recent dreams, really does seem that it's starting already. So I'm getting scared because, only God knows if God is real. And what scares me is what if the aliens invade and there's no end days, rapture, and all the biblical stuff? That's what scares me inside. That might be the dark forces, the fallen angels, the bad aliens, making me and maybe some others think that way. So I won't let that overcome me. What I am worried about is, what if God allows this dark side to do what it's going to do first before we see the good side come? And what if knowledgeable people, like even myself, succumb to that and fall victim to the deception? Only God knows the order of events and what's going to happen. And based on my understanding, I could be wrong, but I think I'm right with my interpretation of Revelations and the order of events in the end days. It's all supposed to happen according to the verses in one day. So I don't think we're going to have like days and weeks and months or years of deception at the hands of bad aliens. But there's that little pit knot inside of me that worries, like, what if that does happen? Am I going to start questioning God? So I just got to wait and see what happens here. But what I will say, to vouch for God and everything, is that I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody in the world. And in the universe, I'm a nobody, as far as I know. And just like any other human, we're all nobodies. And there is no way that little old me, one of the only people on the planet who for 8 years has been heralding 2024 as the end of days, there's no way, based on biblical verses, there's no way that it's some big cosmic coincidence that the very year that I said would be the end of days, or be in the time of the end of days, is no way that little old me coincidentally got it right, and there's going to be a mega alien invasion this year or early next year or whatever. That would be a coincidence off the charts. Impossible. I would have to be a universal celebrity in the cosmos to get something like that coincidentally right or right. To me, the logic shows that the very fact that these things are starting in the year that I said the end of days would occur, in the end of days, as I teach, will include the coming of good and bad extraterrestrials, it cannot be a coincidence. To me, that gives me reassurance that, yep, God, the Bible, all that is dead real. It's so dead real that it's actually coming true. You see my point? Of all the years, thousands of years of human history, why is it that the aliens are now showing up in 2024, the very year, as I teach, that the Bible reveals is the end of days? Cannot be a coincidence. It cannot be. So I think that's good, that adds credibility to the case of the Bible and God. So I think the reason why it's still scary though, because I don't know how long we're going to have to endure anything negative before the goodness comes. And, we're not God. We don't know if we're going to pass in judgment. We have to wait and see. That's the other scary part. But long story short, it's the end of days, whether you like it or not. It's the end of days. And whether you like it or not, the aliens they're not even coming anymore. They're already here. I can't even say the aliens are coming. They're already blinking well here, whether you like it or not. So, you know what I mean? What can I say? All I can do is thank God and whatever other being helped me to have those dreams as a warning, because if I didn't have those dreams at all, like ever, and then I just saw all this stuff happening, maybe I'd be more terrified, because I've always believed in aliens, good and bad aliens. But that dream, which fits in with all my end days dreams, it follows the prophetic end days dream pattern. So it's like whoever gave me the dream, whether it was the aliens or God or both, they wanted me since I was a child, because I started having that dream when I was like 8 or 9 years old. They wanted me to know this my whole life, that it was coming at some point. The very first time I ever had my end days dreams was when I was like 8 or 9 years old. At most, it was 10 years old. And in that first time I had the dream, I saw the big fiery star, as I always describe, coming down from space, soaring over the earth, going over the horizon. It apparently collided somewhere out of sight on the other side of the horizon, somewhere else on earth, shook the earth, knocked us off our feet, sent the earth into darkness almost instantly, and then everybody's looking up into space for light from the stars because there's nothing else to give light. This is like the first time I had the dream, and it was one of the most epic sequences of the dream that I've ever experienced in my whole life, one of the most detailed and lengthy. And when everybody's looking up at the stars for light, I'll never forget this. You see the stars still up in the sky, they're not moving. And then it's like God snaps his fingers, and then all of a sudden, a lot of the stars start moving around, like individually, like different directions, everything. And they start fighting each other with lasers, like plasma, beams, lasers, whatever it might be, different colors and everything. And I saw this as a child, and I was so young at the time that I remember, even in the dream and after waking, that the only thing I could liken it to was it looked like you're looking at a dark koi pond or fish pond. The night sky was dark, and the little silvery dots of the stars looked like the little fish in the pond swimming around. That's what it looked like to me. So it's pretty astonishing that something has guided me through my life to prepare me for this event that was inevitably coming. And now this inevitable event has arrived. It's already begun. We're in the prelude, we're in the introduction. It has started. Okay? The authorities themselves say that there are hundreds of these drones. Okay? They're not drones, there's hundreds of them. Okay? They're not attacking them. The authorities aren't stupid. Obviously, the governments know more than the average person does. Even with my 20 years of UFO research, they will obviously know a lot more than any of us regular folk ever would. And I'm going to vouch for the governments and say that they probably know enough information. They may not know everything, but they know enough, and they probably knew that this event was coming. They may not have known the exact year or anything, but they knew that at some point this arrival would occur. And that was probably the core reason for all the secrecy for 80 years in UFOlogy. Is probably is the best reason. People would freak out if they learned that aliens are living here on this earth in bases underground and in the oceans. People would freak out. They would. Okay? So they're technically not even invading. They're just, because they're already here. they're just coming to the surface and flying around more visibly now. So you can't even really call it an invasion, but there will be a grand invasion. Obviously, something is going to happen. If it's biblical in nature, which I'm inclined to believe based on the reasons I gave before, it can't be coincidences like I was saying before. They had thousands of years to arrive. If they arrived 5 years ago, then it wouldn't have lined up with the biblical prophecies of 2024. The fact they're showing up in 2024 gives good credence to the biblical prophecies coming true. So I would say if it's biblical in nature, that there's good and bad aliens up there flying around. The good ones are what we call angels. The bad ones are the fallen angels. They're going to have a cosmic battle like I saw in my dream as a little child. And the good aliens, the good messengers, who a lot of them might look just like us, are going to come down, gather us up, and take us up into the heavens to a new earth, whether temporarily, permanently, whatever. This is what the Bible talks about anyways. The bad ones are going to do some bad stuff on this earth, and if you're left behind in the rapture, you're going to be at the whim of the bad ones and all the bad beings that are on the earth running amok, which is what I experienced in my end days dreams. So if it's biblical if what is happening now is biblical in nature, that's what we're going to see. Okay, I can't say exactly when it's going to happen. Hopefully we get to enjoy Christmas this year. Next year, I was supposed to have to go start a huge court battle because someone basically stole $100,000 worth of life savings from me and my wife, and we had to start a huge court battle for it. I decided to wait till after Christmas so it didn't ruin everybody's Christmas. Wouldn't it be convenient and ironic if the end of days arrived and I didn't have to go through all that nonsense? It would be kind of nice. But if it's not biblical in nature, because we should always consider everything. If it's not biblical in nature, which would be kind of surprising, right? Like I said, the astronomical impossible coincidences, right? But if it's not biblical in nature, what would this involve? Well, there's going to be some aliens. They could be good or bad or both. And what reason would they have for now coming out on the surface? It could be anything. And anything you could think of would just sound like a sci-fi movie plot. It could be just good aliens. After all, they haven't attacked us yet. And they might come down and make a peace treaty with us, give us technology, and help us accelerate 10,000 years into the future in terms of society and technology. They could be bad aliens and start abducting and eating people or something crazy. You don't know, right? It could be good and bad aliens fighting over Earth. It could be a multitude of different scenarios, right? It could be anything, basically. But at the end of the day, it's going to change your life and the world forever. There's no going back. So let's just hope it is biblical in nature, because at least there's light at the end of that tunnel, which would mean that if you're a good person, you get to go on to a better place. So this is pretty crazy. I can't believe this is happening. Like, I really can't believe that this is happening right now in the world. So many people are seeing it. It blows my mind. It's also disheartening that so many people out there, like 99% of people, don't even think these are aliens. They haven't seen all the footage, I guess. They haven't used common sense. They just think they're drones from China or Russia or the American military. A lot of people are saying they're just taxis. They're air taxis, and this is like an ad stunt. People on this earth are incredibly stupid. Incredibly stupid. And I'll throw this one in the mix too, because it does link over to the recent dream I had with the invasion and the reptilian alien running up to my face or coming up to my face. Even though that reptilian alien looked different than the reptilian alien that I met 20 years ago. When I had this experience 20 years ago, which may have been an abduction, I was basically wide awake, eyes open, was not asleep or nothing. And I just got teleported out from where I was. I was in a totally different place. Big, tall, 7 or 8 or 9 foot tall, really reptilian, wearing amazing looking clothing that changed color and everything. I mean, looked absolutely stunning. Came up to me, and for a number of minutes, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, maybe half an hour, basically showed me this huge holographic projector display. I mean, like probably half a mile wide. It was so big I couldn't even measure it. I couldn't even fathom how big it was. We're in this gigantic place, sparing all the detail, and he showed me footage from human history, as if filmed by drones, no pun intended. It was aerial above the battlegrounds. I was watching, like Vikings fighting this and that, different wars and terrible things humans have done. And the reptilian was basically telling me humans are vermin. That reptilian being was very professional and cordial towards me. He didn't do anything bad to me, nothing at all. He wasn't even malicious in what he was presenting. It was just like he was laying down the cards on the table. Hey, look, these are the facts. Look how terrible humans are. And I have to agree, like after watching all that footage, because most of us don't see wars unless you're a soldier, right? But seeing all the stuff I did on that massive screen really made me feel like he's probably right. I'm not saying I'm against humans. Humans are my species. I'm not saying that humans are vermin, but humans definitely act like vermin. There's no question in that. We overpopulate. We're running around like cockroaches and insects, overpopulating, committing so much crime. Our minds are messed up. And on top of that, everybody's so stupid. So stupid that the aliens have finally arrived and they all got their heads, the people still have their heads in the sand and don't think it's aliens. So I got no sympathy for stupid people like that. I got no sympathy for people, who have just rejected my teachings. At this point here, it's too late. That's why I've gone a bit lax. I had a feeling inside that there's going to be some kind of change, and that's why I stopped doing all my teaching videos. It's too late now. I don't sit here and advertise my books. I mean, right now, there's no point in me talking about my books. So few people have bought them in the last 4 years. It's not going to make a scrap of difference now. You know what I mean? It might help some people, but we're at the end of the line. So all I can say is get yourself right with God, reform from your sin, refer to my systematic theology, my book available on Amazon if you want to, if you need to, if we have time, go do it. Go check out my video teachings. Get right with God. Stop doing what is bad. Become a good person right now, right away, no matter what. I reformed from about 98, 99% of all my sins. I'm almost squeaky clean right now. I am pretty stellar good. God would agree. He knows the one or two little things that I still do, and that's a drop in the bucket compared to what I used to do all my life. So I've gotten ready. God is the judge, whether he says I get to go up to the heavens or not, but everybody else, we're all going to be judged on the judgment day. So, if this is coming, you better get yourself right with God. That's all I could say, because there's going to be no turning back. You're going to be left behind if you don't get taken up in that rapture. And if you are going to get taken up in the rapture, you got to get ready for a whole new life, a whole new outlook. Kiss this earth goodbye kind of outlook. That's a pretty profound feeling, to leave the earth and not come back to it, to leave everything you know and to be going off through space or whatever to your next heavenly planet. That's going to mess with your head. That's going to cause people a lot of trauma. I know my own family members, a lot of them probably, even if they're worthy to go to heaven, a lot of them will probably physically have heart attacks just in the fear and the anxiety and the unknown. And it's going to be a very hard time, even for people who are worthy. So that's why I'm going to warn everybody now. Get right with God. Become a good person. At least you know you have that good ground to stand on, and you're going to be in a far better chance when you get judged. But on top of that, mentally prepare yourself, because even if you are in the good category and you get taken up, how are you going to feel? If you get, however it happens, maybe they walk with you onto the ship, maybe you get teleported onto the ship, maybe you get floated up in the air onto the ship, and then we all fly up into the heavens to a new earth. That's going to be traumatic. You're going to look back at planet Earth and think, oh, when am I ever going to see it again? That's pretty traumatic. Everything you once knew, how many people, your friends, maybe even family, are left behind. That's going to be traumatic. It is going to blow your mind and really mess with your head. So you got to start thinking now and preparing yourself and getting yourself mentally and spiritually ready to be able to face all these things that might be coming. It's always best to be prepared. That's the Scouts motto, be prepared. So anyways, folks, that's it for my rambling right now, but don't say I didn't warn you. I mean, no point even saying that because it's already started. You know what I mean? So open your eyes, get your head out of the sand. That's what I would say to everybody right now. Don't be ignorant like everybody else.